Hello, we're going to do a project based on Harriet Tubman. She was a famous abolitionist that was born around 1820 and died in 1913. She was considered the Moses of her time because she led slaves out of slavery to freedom, much like Moses led the slaves out of Egypt. Also, I found it interesting that she followed the North Star to freedom, and much like the Star of Bethlehem that guided the wise men to Jesus' nativity, the North Star guided them north to freedom. So in the project I have decided to create, we talked about quilt patterns that emulate or represent stars. And in those quilt patterns, often there are geometric shapes. When I'm looking at this, I see these big squares, I see triangles, and this is not necessarily a rectangle, but a parallelogram, because the two lines, like here, will never connect, and the two lines here will never connect or intersect. So we discussed those, and I ended up cutting out shapes. Students said this looked like a diamond, which does, but it's a parallelogram, and it's similar to the shape in the quilted pattern. Using those shapes, we created stars on a black sheet of paper, and I wanted them to also think about the constellation of the Big Dipper, partly because if you look at the Big Dipper and it connects to the Little Dipper, which the tail of the Little Dipper is the North Star. African Americans called this the drinking gourd, and there's also a song that was created, Follow the Drinking Gourd. There's a lot of connections and a lot of big ideas through this project. So some of the students' work was they incorporated Harriet by drawing Harriet. And some more stars, Big Dipper, and they actually used Harriet as she was in the picture that I gave them. Students were told they could either choose to draw her or use the picture that I gave them. And there's a lot of Big Dippers going on there, but I like the Harriet and I like the star. So those big ideas, thinking about Harriet and being a deliverer of slaves just like Moses, following the star that guides her to freedom, and many of those people that she saved from freedom, from slavery, and led them to freedom. And constellations, those are pretty cool too. So I hope you enjoy thinking about the significant person of our history and past in our America.